Thanks for tuning into the BoshNRoll channel. Liking the video and subscribing to the channel are free and easy for you, and they help me out a lot. If you want to go further with your support, Patreon and YouTube membership offer access to the BoshNRoll Discord community, early access to lists, written content, things like that. You can have me play your deck on the channel, and the highest tiers come with individual coaching sessions. If you use YouTube membership, you also get sweet badges and emotes integrated here into YouTube. You can support the channel while you shop at tcgplayer.com by using my affiliate link in the video description, and you can play any deck anytime by using a cardhoarder.com loan account on Magic Online. If you want to wear your support, check out the merch store. And of course, thanks for being here. Now let's go play. Welcome to another BoshNRoll Legacy video. Today I'm doing something that can only be done on Magic Online, and this is 4 Horsemen. This deck comes at the request of Patreon subscriber 93, who wanted to see me use the Mesmeric Orb Basalt Monolith combo in a deck other than the Mystic Forge Mono Brown deck. This combo, if you're not familiar, Mesmeric Orb, whenever a permanent becomes untapped, that permanent's controller mills a card. Basalt Monolith taps for 3 and then untaps for 3. If you have Basalt Monolith and Mesmeric Orb, you can mill as many cards from your deck as you want, because you can tap it for 3, then untap it for that same 3, and mill a card for fun and profit. This is actually a real interaction in Legacy right now with Mystic Forge mud decks or mono brown or artifact decks, where you're just trying to get Mystic Forge into play. And then with Monolith and Orb, you can control the top of your deck and never get stuck on Forge. Just mill past lands, cast spells, and eventually you win somehow. 93 wanted me to take that and do something different with it. And he specifically referenced something like 4 Horsemen. I was a little worried about that request at first, and the reason is that 4 Horsemen is a deck that you can't actually play in Paper Magic, at least not in tournaments. And here's why. Let me explain the combo. Basalt Monolith and Mesmeric Orb, you can mill a card as many times as you like. What this deck is trying to do is mill its Narcomoebas into play, get a creature, in this case Sir Conrad the Grim, into the graveyard, and then dread return it to play before it mills its Emrakul, because Emrakul shuffles your graveyard back into your deck if it ends up in your graveyard from anywhere, including being milled. The reason Emrakul is required in this mix is that once Sir Conrad is in play, whenever another creature dies or a creature is put into your graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, or a creature leaves your graveyard, Sir Conrad deals 1 damage to each opponent. Then you're just going to mill through your deck, hitting the Emrakul and the Narcomoebas. You can decline to return the Narcomoebas to speed up the kill once Conrad's in play. You'll mill into Narcomoeba, they take 1. You mill into Emrakul, they take 1. Emrakul shuffles, then they take 1 for each creature that leaves your graveyard when it gets shuffled back into your deck. And then Sir Conrad burns them out from there. What's wrong with that in Paper Magic, you may ask? Seems like a reasonable combo compared to other things that happen in Legacy. The problem is that the rules of Magic, if you have an unbound loop, if you can describe what the game state looks like after executing the loop n times, then you can say, I have 1 billion mana, or you take 1 billion damage, or I gain 1 billion life. If you can demonstrate that that is what the game state will look like at the end of your loop, you can simply declare that, and that counts in tournament play. However, because you don't know where the Emrakul is going to come up in your deck, compared to the other cards that you need to be milling, and the order that they mill in, you can't confidently declare, I'm going to mill 1,000 cards and then have Sir Conrad in play. It just is not reliable enough. Given infinite time and infinite iterations, you will generate an infinite number of every configuration your deck could come up with, but you don't have infinite time, and the Magic rules have to draw the line somewhere, and they draw the line at shuffling your deck is not advancing the board state. Therefore, it is basically impossible to play this deck in a competitive tournament in Paper without accumulating slow play warnings for taking game actions without advancing the board state. This was a pretty big controversy a few years ago because people who figured out this deck actually thought it was good. There were like people playing this at Star City Opens and stuff. And then the rulings came down from on high in the judge program that saying over infinite iterations, I will eventually get to where I want to be is not the same as declaring what the game state will look like after a discrete number of iterations, which effectively soft banned this deck from playability. For that reason, I was worried about taking on this project as a 4 Horsemen deck, but then I realized we're on Magic Online. I have a chess clock. I could do what I want. And if I'm not going to do this here, I'm not going to do it anywhere. The other tiebreaker was the Sir Conrad innovation. This deck used to kill with Blasting Station and Shroom the Hegemon. You would have to mill into a graveyard configuration where you had Blasting Station, Dread Return, and Shroom before you hit your Emrakul, which is like 3 against 1, and the 1 just resets your thing. But Sir Conrad is self-contained. It skips a card. You need the Dread Return and the Conrad, but you don't need a third card in Blasting Station. So cutting a card off of the iteration really sold me on being willing to try this on Magic Online. The list you see before you is an amalgamation of ideas I saw with some of my own included. The Sir Conrad tech, I just found that somewhere. I just Googled MTG Legacy 4 Horsemen deck, and somebody made a more recent run at this, Throne of Eldraine cards included, with Sir Conrad, and that really made it click for me. Limduel's Vault was a card that I've seen between 0 and 4 copies in decks, and I had a version with a couple of preordains instead of Vault, but then Vault ended its way back in. A lot of lists had Trophy Mage and Treasure Mage, and I think that while those are creatures, in case you need to go onto the beatdown plan or they get more triggers out of Sir Conrad, Fabricate just cuts out the middleman. Search your library for an artifact, put it in your hand. It's the same mana cost as Trophy and Treasure Mage, and there's no world where you already have the Basalt Monolith and draw Treasure Mage instead of Trophy Mage, or however that works. One of them only gets 2s, the other only gets 3s, and our combos are 2 and 3. I would hate to draw the wrong half, so I just replaced them both with Fabricate. Teferi is my innovation. I was looking at the blue-black shell. Like, blue-black seems to be the colors agreed upon in the general 4 Horsemen community, and I was really worried about Graveyard Hate out of the sideboard, and then I just put 4 Brazen Borrowers in the sideboard to deal with Graveyard Hate. And I was trying to figure out, how do I get through Graveyard Hate in the main deck, and also having Sir Conrad being your win condition opens you up to Caracas and Swords to Plowshares as things that can break up your combo. So Teferi just checks all those boxes, and here he is. I put 2 Teferis in the deck, gave it a white splash. And then I was tooling around with the sideboard even more and saw another list that just sideboarded into Show and Tell, which is really smart because the infrastructure is already there. We have a bunch of blue mana, we have soul lands, cantrips to tie it together, Force of Will to protect it. We have a big fat idiot that's worth putting into play. My addition of Teferi turns this into kind of a blue-white Omnitel shell. So 4 Show and Tells, the other 3 Emrakuls, 2 Omniscience, that's all I had room for, but that gives you 6 things to put into play off your 4 Show and Tells. And I still kept the 4 Brazen Borrowers. That's just a good card against Counter Hate. It's also a juke, where you can just attack for damage if your opponent boards out all their removal. Just the full boat of those. And some Spell Pierces to protect the combo. Whether it be Show and Tell or 4 Horsemen, Spell Pierce is a decent card to come out of the sideboard. And I like Spell Pierce better than Flusterstorm because things like Rest in Peace or a Planeswalker, etc. Spell Pierce hits that Flusterstorm doesn't. I did notice that every list of 4 Horsemen I saw has 2 Eldrazi in the main deck, whether it's 2 Emrakuls or an Emrakul and an Ulamog. And I imagine that's in case one ends up in your hand, so you can still iterate your combo. Like, post-board, it makes sense to play around Graveyard Hate, because, like, if you mill into one Emrakul and they surgical, you can just mill into the other Emrakul and shuffle away your Emrakuls and fizzle the surgical. But in the main deck, people aren't really playing Scavenging Ooze or whatever. I guess there's Bojuka Bog decks in the format. Maybe I should have 2 Emrakul's. Yeah, I just talked myself into it. I forgot about Bojuka Bog. Like, if Emrakul ends up in your hand while you're comboing, you can just Cabal Therapy yourself, take the Emrakul, and you're back to the races. But I don't want to lose to Bojuka Bog, Crop Rotation, Elvish Reclaimer. Those are all cards that are regularly played in the format. So I will add a second Emrakul to the main, which opens up a sideboard slot. I'm going to fill that sideboard slot with Toxic Deluge. That was a card that I was disappointed to have to cut when I pivoted the Fair sideboard into a Show and Tell sideboard. I wish I could play Dress Down in this deck, but my deck is trying to combo out with a creature ability, so I don't get to Dress Down, but Toxic Deluge looks pretty good. That's my final change to the deck. Let's go do this thing. This is the only time I'm ever going to do this, so let's have fun with it. Into these rounds we go. I have won the die roll. I have Ancient Tomb Mesmeric Orb, no Basalt Monolith Insight, no way to cast, and my hand is full of cards that I want in my deck, so I'm going to mulligan this. Now I have the opposite one, but I have actual lands and a plan here. I am going to keep this hand. Do I send a land or an Archimedes to the bottom? Because this is a Force of Will deck. It does have Brainstorm. I don't need all 4 Archimedes in the deck. I actually think I'm bottoming a land for those reasons. And ship the turn. A Thespian Stage strategy from the opponent. Good thing we brought in the second Emrakul against Bojuka Bog. Oh, a Tundra Thespian Stage strategy. What is this shit? Well, that card's going to be tough to beat. Ancient Tomb. Yeah, I think I want to just play Monolith. Gotta hang it out there. And if I draw Fabricate or my Orb, we're just in business. I do have 5 mana to Fabricate and Orb, and then just go. The Sylvan Library is going to bury me, though. Elvish Reclaimer, okay. And Wasteland, that's pretty good. Yeah, taking out my Ancient Tomb sucks. That makes Fabricate a bit worse, but Monolith or Orb off the top still does the thing. Or we could rip the Emrakul. Maybe I'll cast it. Drawing Emrakul here is actually devastating because they have the Reclaimer in play, the Bojuka Bog is live, and I don't have a second Emrakul to spin into. I'll have to therapy myself taking the first Emrakul just to play around Bojuka Bog. Ugh. Yeah, this one fell apart quick. Probably should have gone to 5. Knight of the Reliquary. Okay. They've given me a window to draw my card here. My deck does have 8 cantrips in it. Force of Will. Okay, now I am dead. If they untap with Knight and Reclaimer, there's not a real path through this. Out of the sideboard. This is definitely a Toxic Deluge matchup. I think this is a matchup that... Do I want to become a Show and Tell deck? If I do that, Show and Tell is historically mediocre against Knight of the Reliquary decks. But if I do my Omniscience thing, it's a lot better. Brazen Borrower and Toxic Deluge are coming in against this deck for sure. I don't think that I want to do the full conversion. I think I still want to be the graveyard deck at least once, and then we can make a pivot for game 3. Because they didn't really see anything. They saw Grim Monolith and me concede. Or Basalt Monolith and me concede. Sideboarding's pretty tight, though. What the hell do I cut? I think maybe Cabal Therapy is less important for this matchup because they're not a blue deck. Like, Crop Rotation is the thing I'd be worried about, and they can put several of them in play. I need some in the deck in case I do need to take a card from my own hand. Force of Will is good, but not really essential. You need all the graveyard pieces to stay where they are. Need the Fabricates. I'm going to shave another Force, and maybe I don't need all 4 Brazen Borrowers. Or is Toxic Deluge worse than Borrower? Deluge is worse than Borrower. They have a lot of big creatures. I'm just going to bring in the 4 Borrowers and shave a little other pieces of interaction against this permanent base deck. Okay, 2 Orbs, 2 Brainstorms, and Cabal Therapy. I like this hand. I'm going to keep it. Gonna land go. Zenith for 0. Okay, getting Dryad Arbor. This might be a end-step Brainstorm situation. which I usually don't like doing, but when you're a combo deck, the rules are different. And I'm going to use a basic. Teferi is actually good. I can put Emrakul and Cabal Therapy on top of the deck. Then I'll draw Cabal Therapy. I can play Mesmeric Orb, which will mill Emrakul when I untap my cards. I get to chill with this Teferi in my hand. I'm going to play Orb using the Yavimaya. That insulates me against choke a little bit. Ox Diamond. Knight of the Reliquary. Powerful card. I'm going to mill 2. One of them's Emrakul. I don't have to draw that one. That out of here. And mill Dread Return. Oh, wow. Okay, so if I ponder into Monolith right now, we're in business. I could also just take this opportunity to jam Teferi and bounce their Knight. Just get a little bit deeper into my deck. Yeah, I think I want to bounce the Knight. Tundra, City. Here's Teferi. Bounce, Knight of the Reliquary. Okay, cool. I am set up for next turn in a way that I'm excited about. The Dryad Arbor can attack Teferi and kill it. That's fine. But if they spend their turn replaying Knight and attacking with Dryad Arbor, I'm almost in business. Knight's back. It's the attack on Teferi, probably. Yep. Yeah, you can't leave up mana with Teferi in play anyway. Might as well attack. Safekeeper, okay. Knight of the Reliquary is going to be fucknormous because of my orb. Found an Archamoeba. I can block for a turn. We take those. Oh. Well, here we are. I'm just going for it. Result Monolith. Okay. Tap, untap, mill 1. And both Emrakuls are in the deck, so I don't even know what they could have. Like Surgical Extraction. That doesn't work. Because if they try to surgical anything, I can just mill an Emrakul in response and shuffle it away and fizzle it. Let's see if they want to make me do this. Opponent asked in the chat how 4 Horsemen wins these days, and I said, Sir Conrad pings. I hope that means they're intending on conceding. I've told them my win con. They said they just have to read Sir Conrad real quick, and then they'll concede. Okay, cool. We do have that benefit of league play, which is that opponents value their time. None of these matches are particularly high stakes. They can just peace out if they don't want to watch me click for however long it takes. Now that they've seen the 4 Horsemen, I want to become show and tell. That's why I didn't board it out in game 2, because now they're going to load up on Graveyard Hate, and I'm just going to be a show and tell deck. And I think this one is a gigantic sideboard movement, because there's a lot of cards that don't need to be in the deck anymore if this is the plan. Like Dread Return, the entire mill package. I didn't actually map this out. There might be an embarrassing overlap of cards that need to come out, but there's not cards to bring in. Spell Pierce, might as well. It's just literally 15 card sideboard. And Fabricate. Okay, so Fabricate appears to be the card that I'm unhappy to still have in my deck. Is there a card that is better that I'm taking out? In Narcomoeba is still blue for Force of Will, and I can just cast it if I need to like block Knight of the Reliquary or Merit Lage for a turn. And otherwise, oh, there's another Fabricate over here. What did I just do? Oh, I took out a Force of Will. I definitely don't want to do that. Yeah, 15 card sideboard plan. Everything else is fine. Like Sir Conrad is not really a legacy playable Magic card, but it is at least something. And if I have Omniscience, I don't care. I'm happy to put it into play. Okay, now we're Omni Show. In we go. Okay, we have our 1-up Narcomoeba. That's lucky. LOL. But seriously, we have Show and Tell, Ponder, Spell Pierce. I'm going to keep this hand. Zenith for 0. You got it. The Zenith for 0 kind of mixes me up a little, because I would like to Ponder, but I would also like to Spell Pierce a Choke or Sylvan Library. I could have Spell Pierce that, but I don't think that's the play. Like if they just cast Knight right here. Okay, Ramming Up Excavator is pretty bad too. Even have their land drop left over. That's so smart. Okay, now it's time to ponder into another land. Ponder. Okay, found a land. I can't Cabal Therapy this turn, so I'm just not gonna. I already have a Therapy in my hand as well. I'll float an extra Show and Tell on top. And I can hold up Spell Pierce again. This is the type of game that we're in trouble to a lot of things. I really would prefer a world where I have an Omniscience in my hand. Like, obviously. It's a good card to have in your hand. I am going to shuffle this. I'm going to get Underground Sea and draw a card. Okay, now we have this situation where I can Cabal Therapy them, name Crop Rotation, and then, like, just put an Archimedes into play. Or I could Toxic Deluge for 3, but then they can still just Crop Rotation and win. Or I could put an Emrakul and lose to Merit Lage. I think I have to Cabal Therapy here. Therapy you. There's Crop Rotation. There was never any doubt about that one. Just going to name Crop Rotation again. Or do I name Knight of the Reliquary now? I'm going to name Knight of the Reliquary this time. Oh, 2 Force of Vigors. That's scary. Well, let's continue executing the plan. Here's Narcomoeba to block. Force of Vigor. I cannot Toxic Deluge for 20 next turn, so I really need to find an Omniscience to cast Emrakul with. Or a Brazen Borrower. There's a lot of outs to Merit Lage in this deck. How about leaving that Narcomoeba in just in case it needed to block Merit Lage? Which it does need to do. Alright, deck. Brazen Borrower. Or Omniscience. Or Brainstorm. Or Ponder to find them. No! Okay. Unfortunate. I could Show and Tell Emrakul, block for a turn, and try to draw Brazen Borrower again. That sucks. But I guess that's my out here. Show and Tell. There's Emrakul. I'm disappointed about it. And because of Remnant Excavator, even if we draw Brazen Borrower, it doesn't beat this Merit Lage long term. A temporary stopgap. Required chump blocking. Teferi is good. No, Teferi's bad. Brazen Borrower does buy me a turn. Alright, we just didn't get there. Didn't string it together. GG's opponent. We did the 4 Horsemen thing, though, so put that one on the board. On to the next round. I'm on the draw in the second round. Obviously going to mulligan this 0 mana source hand. This has half the combo and Fabricate for the other half, but no mana. This isn't even a black land that to cast Cabal Therapy with. I'm gonna go lower. Okay, now we're cooking. Keep this, send a Monolith, and send... It's actually an interesting call between Fabricate and Monolith and Ponder, but I'm gonna bottom Fabricate. Opponent is looking for revenge after our last match, they said in the chat. Can't wait. This is the day to get revenge if you were gonna do that. Chose to shuffle their Ponder. My Ponder is just going to find Orb and land, and then we're just going to curve into the win. Let's go. Show it to me. I don't need City of Traders. I am kind of interested in Teferi, though, and the fetch land. If there's some Ponderous blue deck, this might be the opponent who was on Jeskai Helm the other day. If so, if theirs is just a main deck Rest in Peace deck, I am disappointed. Okay, it's not that. Good. I am disappointed that this is probably a Wasteland deck, though. I'm going to ponder before I shuffle. I know I don't want the City of Traders, but what if I find Mesmeric Orb? Oh no, I did want City of Traders. Damn it. And Moto doesn't let you unclick. Okay, do not shuffle my library. Draw the orb. And I'll pass the turn. Because I don't really need City. I can push through Daze. City would have let me cast a Fairy through Daze, which gives me a lot of breathing room. I'm going to fetch a basic land, though, and hope they're not a Stifle deck. Anytime there's a ban in the format or a new set's released or something, people think Stifle is playable for like 2 weeks, and we're kind of at the tail end of that window, but I hope that this is not a Stifle deck. Okay, Snapcaster Ponder is fine with me. That lets me try to wiggle Teferi into play. Grixis colors with Snapcaster Mage. And Snapcaster Mage isn't usually in Wasteland decks. Taking my 1 here. And then I am going to fetch a basic land and draw for my turn. Okay, I can play Mesmeric Orb, ignoring Daze. I could jam to Fairy, which may or may not actually do anything. I think I want to just Mesmeric Orb and play around Daze. This is going to send the DRC into Super Drive, and if they're a Murktide Regent deck, they get that going too. Okay, they mill 4. Oh, they're a Reanimator deck. They just milled Bloodghast and Reanimate in this Mesmeric Orb pile. I was worried when they were a Rest in Peace deck, but no, this is much worse. They just milled another Bloodghast off of their Surveil. Oh, you're a Standstill deck also. This is awesome. I'm a big fan of everything that's happening right now. I mean, except the fact that I'm losing. But their deck rules. But I can flip Narcomoebas. I think I should just go full ham and mill 3 cards. None of them were relevant. Okay, I have a plan. I'm going to Cabal Therapy and name Force of Will, and then win the game. Are we ready? Just cast it right into Standstill. They draw their 3 cards first, and they forced it because they have to. Like, that's happening anyway. Okay, the Force pitched what? Force pitched Force. Okay. I can play Teferi and try to slow this down, check them. I am at 10, though, so Bloodghast is really dangerous. I don't think I have time for this. I'm just going to jam Monolith and hope I win. Yeah, it's in there. Someone's in trouble. Now we start milling. The Horsemen are riding. How about Cabal Therapy versus Standstill? Like we're playing Odyssey Block Constructed. Opponent said in the chat, expletive is this. Do they not know about the 4 Horsemen? We ride across the nation, a thoroughbred of sin. Opponent, if you're watching this later, I would love to interact with you in the chat, but I'm busy clicking through my stupid combo. I've milled all my remaining Cabal Therapies. I guess they're all still in the deck. All right, found an Narcomoeba. Yeah, let's put that into play. We're getting there. Dread Return is in the graveyard. And all my Cabal Therapies are in the graveyard. Dread Return, only 1 Narcomoeba. And I'm going to put my graveyard up where we can see it. Another Narcomoeba. We're almost there, team. Now it's just a race between the 1 Narcomoeba or the 2 Emrakuls. We did it! Okay, the Narcomoebas are all here. Is there a Sir Conrad dead yet? Dread Return, no Sir Conrad. All right, there's 2 of each, Sir Conrad and Emrakul. Yes, there's Sir Conrad. Let's dreadfully return him. If they had a counterspell, I think they would have countered. Okay, now we just click until they die. And now we want Emrakul to show up. Okay, we hit an Emrakul. Okay, now they're taking a bunch of damage from the triggers, and I can hide my graveyard because now we know they are dead. My opponent said, this looks like that mean-spirited 4 Horsemen deck. I was just like, yeah, this is 100% 4 Horsemen. And these horses are galloping. Okay, they see the writing on the wall. That actually executed pretty quick, all things considered. Sir Conrad is gassed. I think I want to do the full juke here. Grixis, unlike Merit Lage decks that contain Karakas, Grixis is famously bad at answering Merit Emrakul. And if they're also a Standstill deck and a Bloodghast deck, I don't want to give them Mesmeric Orb to go off with. Time to remember what my 15-card sideboard plan looks like. I love the 1 of Narcomoeba that has to stay in the deck. That's actually my favorite thing about this whole deck. That adorable little Narco who just can't get where he wants to go. And this looks like the deck to me. Let's go. Man, Cabal Therapy into Standstill, by the way. Love that play pattern. Go ahead, draw 3 cards. I'll take them. I'm going to keep my hand on the draw here. It has stable mana in the 2 basic islands, and then I like Brazen Borrower as interaction. I like Ponder, obviously, and the Soul lands are pretty great. Opponent kept 7. I'm less excited about. I'm going to Ponder. I just want to find 3 spells. Oh, we're just aggro pyroblasting my spells. Fair enough. Yeah, I guess my combo, as far as they know, is not blue. All right. Let's just get all this put together. Faithless Looting. Your deck is so cool. Guarded a Bloodghast and a Murktide Regent. So one free thing, one kind of big cost thing. Hope they don't jam Standstill right now. Right, there's Ghast. ERC. Okay, that's in play. Wasteland. Okay, they are a Wasteland deck, confirmed. I'm going to bounce Dragon's Rage Channeler just to take some pressure off here. I wish I could bounce Bloodghast, but if they just flashback Faithless Looting, it's a free discard. Not interested in that. I'm going to play the Ancient Tomb and hope they just fire off their Wasteland. And I will take 2 to cast my spell here. They don't have Pyroblast up. They can't Daze. And anything that we fight over, any exchange we have early on, helps when I find the Emrakul for the show and tell. This hand needs a Brainstorm, though. Like, ugh. Big time. My opponent just disconnected from the match for a little while and then came back and said, sorry, I'm on a road trip. The Magic Online gamer degeneracy. Just trying to fire Legacy Leagues from a hotspot in a car. I love it. Okay, they did not redeploy their DRC, which means they have something else planned. Maybe it's Force of Negation. Maybe they have their own Vendilion Click or Brazen Borrower. It's something they need 3 mana for. If it was something like a Braid, they would have played the DRC. But yeah, I'm definitely smelling a Force of Negation here. There's Channeler back. Ball Therapy. Okay. I don't believe there's any universe they named the correct card on the first try. The Ball Therapy is pretty fucked up with Bloodghast. And now the jig is up. They're going to know about Show and Tell. Basalt Monolith. A card that is not in my deck. We got a bruh in the chat. Okay, so Bloodghast is going to fight. When they flash this back, I'm going to Spell Pierce it. If they have Pyroblast or something to fight over this, then that sucks. It's my protection for Show and Tell either way. I'm going to let them Surveil first. And then Spell Pierce this. Got to protect the goods. One way or the other. And if they have Pyroblast or Flusterstorm for Spell Pierce, they would have had it for Show and Tell too. Emrakul. Okay, what do I think is in their hand? I think Force of Negation's in their hand, is what I think. How much Cabal Therapy do I want to play around? Like, I could just cast this card. Not convinced that's actually good, though. Yeah, I'm going to save it for when I'm going for my Show and Tell and just hope it doesn't get discarded in the meantime. They currently have to attack. So I will take the trade with DRC if it comes my way. Bloodghast is back. Still above 10 life. Doesn't have haste. Oh no. Snapcaster Mage targeting Pyroblast clears the way for some beatdowns here. Don't like that. Okay. Time to draw Emrakul immediately. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If my life total gets much lower, Emrakul won't even get the job done. Oh, cool. They took themselves off Delirium. Nice. I like taking less damage compared to more damage, generally speaking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Come on, deck. Yeah, them Pyroblasting my Ponder on turn 1 really collapsed my whole strat here. Faithless Looting out of the graveyard removes a sorcery, but does give them 3 opportunities to put new cards in the graveyard. Currently 2 card types. Still 2 card types. Discarded 2 lands. Handful of spells over there. Need an Emrakul or a Brainstorm. I'll take Brainstorm also. Hey! Okay, I'm going to Cabal Therapy. And do I name Force of Negation like a boss? That turn they left up 3 mana is pretty sus. I'm going to name Force of Negation. They had 3 things. They had Force of Will, Force of Negation, and Energy Flux. Fuck my life. And at least my read was correct, but... Alright, I guess I can play a land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I gotta find another piece of interaction here, or else this just isn't good enough. I need to draw that Narcomoeba. Or Sir Conrad. Oh, you drew Brainstorm right now? Come on. I get the moral victory of reading that Force of Negation, at least. even if I'm going to lose this game. But the sideboard strat, they have Energy Flux, which is not a card that is important in their deck. And I bet there's some graveyard hate over there too that I can largely ignore. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I'm going to 1 here. Yeah, I'm dead even if I play MTGO. I need to draw what? Brainstorm, and then Brainstorm into Omniscience and an extra protection spell. Ah! Deluge, gotcha. Alright, I'm dead. Deluge showed up a little late. Alright, now we're on the level system. I can go back to being the Basalt Monolith deck, or I can continue being a Show and Tell deck. I'm not actually sure which one I think is better, but they saw me come off of the Mesmeric Orb deck. I don't think that Energy Flux is actually good against my deck either way. I'm going back in. We're juking it back. 2 Emrakul's, all the Show and Tells, the Omnisciences. If they're a Cabal Therapy deck, like even more than just normal sideboard leveling, being a Cabal Therapy deck is like huge incentive to be something they don't expect. I think Fabricate probably just sucks compared to like Brazen Borrower that can interact with the board. With Fabricate, we saw Pyroblast in their deck. Teferi's good regardless. The Dread returns. I probably don't get all the Brazen Borrowers if I'm on this strat. Do I need all the Cabal Therapies? Yeah, probably. They're a standstill deck. I guess I only get 2 Brazen Borrowers. Just turn the 2 Fabricates into Brazen Bees, and this is my deck now. Let's do it. Nope. This hand doesn't work. This one does. I'm going to keep this and send one of the fetch lands to the bottom. I guess I can send the Underground Sea. I can fetch that when I want it. And I'm going to ponder on turn 1. Right now, while the getting's good, we're doing it. A Force of Will, an Ancient Tomb, and a Ponder. I'm going to put the Force of Will second from the top. Because if they do just blind therapy me, Force of Will is one of the things that frequently gets named. But I guess that's in combo decks. Fair decks wouldn't really do that. Alright, I don't know what the hell's going on. I take it all back. Dragon's Rage Channeler. I was hoping for a Faithless Looting there. Didn't get it. I can slam this orb, or I can start cantripping. I'm going to slam the orb. Get to work. Orb. Though that does give away a lot of information on the Cabal Therapy front. That I'm back on this orb strat. Ponder. Ponder. Mill to Ponder. Just normally a good card. So they're looking for something specific. Probably answers to Mesmeric Orb or Graveyard Hate is what they're looking for specifically. A Polluted Delta. Underground Sea. Thoughtseize. That's a good one. No guessing there. I'm glad I played out my combo piece. My hand is actually pretty good against Thoughtseize. Gonna mill my 2. Another orb. Brainstorm. Fairy's really good. Having a second orb in play doesn't really do anything that I care about. I guess I can insulate against removal. Do I care about that? No, I'm just going to put the 2 orbs back. Maybe I can deck them before they can win. I think that's a possibility. If that was the case, I should have just played out my orbs. So, Murktide Regent being a card in their deck really messes with that idea. It would be very big very quickly. Tomb, that's a powerful card. Getting Blood Gas. Yep, cool. So sick. Well, they did lose Delirium by playing their land out. This Thoughtseize is pretty good. Gonna strip to Fairy, probably. Yep. Now my hand is just Force of Will. And I think I want to shuffle before I mill. Like, I could have just milled one of the Mesmeric Orbs, but I think a random mill is better. Brainstorm, come on, let's go. Fix this hand. Narcomoeba, are you good? I can play Narcomoeba. That doesn't do anything. Yeah, I'm just going to put these 2 cards that I like in my graveyard on top of the deck and hold up Force of Will. Don't worry, you'll be able to get your Delirium back. I'm fairly confident. Oh, Dak Faden's in this deck. Surgical Extraction just got milled, but they do have Snapcaster in their deck. And I'm going to float a bunch of mana in the end step just to get the mills. We know there's an Archamoeba in the mix here. And I'll force the Snapcaster so fast. Another Archamoeba. Well, I'll play it. We're one away from Dread Return. Hull Breacher. Drawing cards isn't really a thing my deck does. I can double block this. Okay, you can have it. Oh, they just milled another Bloodghast, which does have haste. It turns out Mesmeric Orb, when your opponent is a low-key reanimator deck, is kind of a liability. I think I need to fight the Hull Breacher. Let's go to 5, be dead on board. But if I draw Monolith, I have the forces. They don't have a land for Bloodghast. I'm gonna mill 2. There are 2 more Archamoebas that can buy me time here. Hit a Sir Conrad. Fairy? Let's go, homie. Which of your many counterspells in your hand would you like to point it to Fairy? Snapcaster Mage. That card is lethal. So is not countering it. Well, I guess I can force this and hope that they miss on a land drop, because I'm dead to their Bloodghast. Okay, yeah, just dead to everything. Alright, GG's. Mesmeric Orb. Dangerous liability when it actually fuels your opponent. Maybe I should have stayed show and tell, but I think the juke was worth trying. On to the next round. We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league. I'm on the draw in round 3. I like this hand a lot. I'm going to keep it. I have Monolith, I have Brainstorm, I have mana to do the things that my hand does. Oh, my arch nemesis, Windswept Heath. I'm going to play my Delta and pass. The way I see this game playing out is next turn I play Basalt Monolith, and then the turn after that I Brainstorm into, hopefully, Orb. Oh, Rishadan-Port. Elvish Reclaimer, okay. Once again rewarded for playing the second Emrakul. Turns out that matters a lot. Okay, get Island, play Ancient Tomb, play Grim Monolith. Let's get that into play. I don't think there's any reason to play out the second one. Like, I can Brainstorm that away. Just having 2 in play seems unnecessary. I do need this Brainstorm to deliver, though. They're attacking for 1. No respect for Bajuka Bog, which means they're planning on porting me. Hope they go after Tomb. Yeah. Okay. Now the Brainstorm gets to see an extra card. Please reward me. No! This is so bad. Just actively terrible. Okay, now I'm Brainstorm locked. And facing down a likely Merit Lage. Okay, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12, 13. Can I get to hardcast Emrakul before this game is over? 1, 2, 3. I'm going to play the other Monolith. And then I'm going to pass the turn. But I hope they don't have Dark Depths right now. There's a Saga, okay. And Crop Rotation is still lethal. Still attacking me. Let's hope they keep porting, though. If they port me, then I'm not dying this turn. Okay, good. I'm going to use that mana to untap my tapped Monolith. I'm going to draw for turn. I'm going to play City of Traders. Play another Monolith. 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, if they don't port me, I get to cast Emrakul. They're tapping mana. Oh, it's for Exploration. That's not great. There's Dark Depths. Okay, so they might not port me because they have Depths. Are they going to go for it or just play it safe? Oh my god. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Well, we call this Plan B. Wee. I think I just lose anyway. Oh wait, no, I have the Archamoebas to block with. Oh, we got this. Maybe. I don't know. This is a weird situation. Okay, I have to math this out a little bit. I attack if they float all their mana and annihilate 6 permanents. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They have exactly enough permanents to float their mana, make Merit Lage, block Emrakul. Alright, I guess I just have to use my Archamoebas to chump block and tread water after that. Obviously, the attack is required here. I imagine they'll see this line because it is pretty obvious to a lands player. Oh no, they did it wrong. Or does it work this way too? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, no, it works this way too. Yeah. I was getting too fancy. They can just make Merit Lage, sack everything else, and block. Okay, now I have 2 draw steps, at least, to find an orb and get to work. Cast Narcomoeba. Cast Narcomoeba. Got some blockers. LFG. This will be the most fun game I ever lose, I think. Maze of Ith action. Okay, block. First draw step. Let's go. Come on, deck. Show me the orb. Show me the orb. Show me the orb. City of Traders dies because I played a fetch land. Untap a monolith on the way through. If I draw a black source, I can also dread return one of my Narcomoebas for another block. A block. And I'm going to untap another monolith. 9 life is the same as 11 here. 1, 2, 3. Untap. Come on, deck. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, we get another look. Ponder, let's go. Narcomoeba and Teferi. Teferi. Folks. All right. I can't get both of these cards. Okay, so I'll just have to take the Teferi. Do not shuffle this library. Do fetch. Do get Underground Sea. White, blue. Teferi, baby. Boing. And a Brainstorm left over. Let's do this shit. Oh, fuck yeah. That was a game of Magic. Okay. This deck, I definitely want to be show and tell against. They're going to have Force of Vigors. They're going to have Graveyard Hate. All the stuff. I don't know why I'm moving cards over one at a time. Like, I'm not just bringing in 15 cards. Though Toxic Deluge might not really play in this particular matchup. Maybe I get to leave in 2 Narcomoebas. 2 Narcomoebas won me that game, though. Just block Merit Lage twice till we could figure it out. Orb, Monolith, Fabricate, 2 Narcomoebas, 2 Dread Returns. And with Teferi, you can actually Dread Return Emrakul in response to a trigger if you plus discard it or mill it somehow and have 4 mana. But I don't think that's going to come up in this matchup. I actually think that I have been misboarding. I think Sir Conrad is worse than Narcomoeba because Narcomoeba is blue and it blocks Merit Lage. And Sir Conrad is just like some fucking card that doesn't really do anything. Okay, all of these are out. All my Narcomoebas are in. They're on blocking duty. And now I'm a show and tell deck. This hand is entirely presentable. I'm going to keep it. You do kind of need Omniscience against lands when you're a show and tell deck. Like, Emrakul just isn't enough. Like we saw last game, I hardcast that thing and it was still barely enough. Let's see if they had the Pyroblast right away. Brazen Borrower. Don't need a second Brazen Bee. Don't need Narcomoeba. I kind of want black mana or show and tells. That's what I'm looking for right now. The second Emrakul was not it. Turn 2 Mox Diamond right on time. Discard a Wasteland. They have Rashadan Port and Valakut Exploration. Yikes. I'm in danger. Oh, found a show and tell. I think I want to Brazen Borrow their Valakut Exploration and just hope they spend their mana redeploying that instead of tapping my lands or disrupting me. Oh, there's a Caracas. Shit. Okay, now I really need an Omniscience. Brainstorm. None of these are helpful. In fact, they are downright bad, and I'm Brainstorm locked again. I could skip my land drop, go to hand size, next turn, discard Emrakul to get through the Brainstorm lock 1 turn earlier, but I think skipping land drops is worse than everything else here. Yeah, I can just cast Brazen Bee and beat down, I guess. Yeah. I am not without options here, though that Caracas is some bullshit. Oh wow, nothing go is my opponent's play. I'm gonna let them port me, that's fine. I have the land coming off the top that can cast Brazen Borrower. If I'd sequenced this differently, I could have cast Brazen Borrower and held up Spell Pierce, but I don't get to do both with the way that I sequence my lands. Rotating some crops. Oops. Shit. Oh, okay. I have Limdual's Vault. This is fine. I didn't want to pitch the show and tell, but I have another blue card. I'm going to fight my fights wherever I can fight them. That crop rotation would have been a lot of cards under the Valakut Exploration and a lot of options when they're clearly just sputtering. Tapping my artifact land, that doesn't matter. Just in the market for Omniscience at this point. Field of the Dead, they get a trigger. Of course, they would hit... Oh, it's not a real card. Force of Vigor. I saw green and I was like, of course they'd hit Exploration and just go from 0 to hero. Time to get the Brazen Friend in play. Tapping my Ruins again. All right, another Brazen Borrower is exciting. Do I want to bounce their Diamond, bounce their Exploration? I'm just going to pass the turn, see what happens. They're still living off the top. Sylvan Library is a pretty good card. I'm going to bounce that. And then if I draw a black land, I can Cabal Therapy it right away. And I will cast Brazen Borrower with the mana here. I am drawing cards for the first time. Oh, Teferi, fuck yeah. Let the beatdowns continue. They're approaching a point where Sylvan Library is not even great because they're going to be at 8 life. Not get a lot of extra cards out of it. They're going to port something here. That's fine. Built this city on traders. Teferi, I'm going to bounce. Is it Valakut? It's Sylvan Library. Get out of here. And then attack for 6. Yeah, just perfectly normal 4 Horsemen gameplay unfolding here. Right, if Teferi is still in play next turn, I can plus end step show and tell, put in Emrakul. They bounce it with Karakas. Okay, none of this matters. I was about to say that I can show and tell again, but that just doesn't matter. That's not how Karakas versus Emrakul lines up. Sylvan Library is back again. It's in Miri's Guile mode at this point. Okay, there's a real creature. I take 1 from their Valakut Exploration. And, alright, they did not Rashad port. Teferi can plus. Reclaimer doesn't have reach. I can actually show and tell twice. That does change things. Like if I show and tell in combat, and then they bounce it, like if they don't let me go to my turn. Okay. This is starting to become a thing. If they Karakas on their own turn without letting me untap and go into my turn, then the second show and tell will kill them. Though show and tell might be dangerous against this opponent, especially 2 of them. Or they even tapped their Karakas to do what? What are they putting together on me here? They don't think Karakas is important. That's the power of the juke. Show and tell could result in Dark Depths here. But I don't think it's gonna. And they conceded a perfectly normal match of Magic with 4 Horsemen. On to the next round. I'm on the play with a straight line. As long as these Ponders find some lands, I'm keeping this. No Wasteland one-time dealer. Just Ponder. If Ponder just shows me 2 lands here, I'll be really stoked. Okay. I have 1 land, and then I can play Orb and mill one of these 2 cards. I'd rather mill Narcomoeba. Maybe I would rather have Narcomoeba in my hand to pitch to force. Whatever. Have my and Exploration. This has been popular today. Okay, I'm gonna slam my Orb and allow my opponent to ponder it. I'm pondering with my Orb. Oh, this is great. I'm gonna mill Narcomoeba and 1 other card, and then I have 1 draw step to rule them all. If it's a land, we're in the party zone. If it's not, I have Ponder and Brainstorm to try to set up the land for next turn. Either way, I gotta watch out for Jukabog out of this deck, and also just being combo killed. Oh, if this Saga pops... Oh, I'm also just, you know, dead. Alright, so now I actually have to draw the land off the top right now. Or no, I can block with Narcomoeba. Get wrecked. Narcomoeba. Ball Therapy. Land! 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 Fuck. Okay. I'm gonna Ponder. And there's my land. There's another Force of Will. And Limdual's Vault. I'm not gonna shuffle. I am gonna play my land. And then I'm gonna pass the turn. If we're about to figure out what level my opponent's on, if they Urza Saga and get Pithing Needle with and name Basalt Monolith, they're just a mega genius, or at least old enough to know how these stupid old legacy combos work. Oh, they didn't even go for that deal. Anything that makes the game last longer is fine in my book. Noldo Wasteland, a Loam, and another Loam. Dredged Loam. I don't like the fact that they can Wasteland me at least once this turn. Retrofitter, don't care. Okay, I'm gonna have to brainstorm into a land, because they can Loam and then waste me. Oh wait, no, I can Force of Will the Loam, and then I win. Okay. Force of Will, pitching Brainstorm on Life from the Loam. Tabernacle, okay, I don't care about that. Might as well block, because I'm not going to pay. If they have Crop Rotation in their hand, I still don't care about that, because I have the 2 Emrakuls, right? Now we just win. Boop, 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 a-doop. And off we go. It's Mill and myself. There's only 1 Dread Return in my deck right now, because there's 1 in my hand. Just looking for Narcomoebas. Yeah, second Emrakul is pretty important to this deck build. Glad we caught that on the very end. Pop my graveyard out here so we can see it. The Sir Conrad. The Fairy. Fairy. Emrakul. I'm going to let the trigger resolve. I would like to push through Emrakul and get all my Narcomoebas in, but if I just hit the second one before I hit any Narcomoebas, then Bojuka Bog gets me when I specifically built the deck for that to not happen. And by that I mean the deck was specifically built that way. I didn't do any of that. I just added Teferi to it. Oops. I clicked real quick and luckily didn't hit Emrakul, so I do have 2 Narcomoebas now. I would be able to just go completely ham bananas, but my opponent does have Yavimaya in play. Okay, I think I want to therapy them and name Crop Rotation, just to get any concern out of my brain. Oh, 2 Crop Rotations in your hand. Get the fuck out. Okay, now we win. Their hand was literally 2 Crop Rotations. Get out of here. There's Sir Conrad. There's another therapy. I can therapy myself and just commit to doing another round. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Therapy myself, name Dread Return. Okay, both Dread Returns are now in the mix. I can hit 1 more Narcomoeba on this round, maybe. There's Emrakul. Okay. This is the horsiest of the 4 Horsemen iterations we have had to gone through. Oops. Yeah, let Narcomoeba resolve first, and then keep going. There's just that small chance that if you respond to Narcomoeba with a second mill, it's Emrakul, and then you gotta start over again. There's 3 Narcomoebas. We're set up there. There's Emrakul. See you later, graveyard. But I got my Narcos in. Not bad. There's 2 of each relevant card from here. There's 2 Dread Return, 2 Sir Conrad, 2 Emrakul. Alright, there's Emrakul. Off we go again. Are we having fun yet? This is why this is not a real deck. My opponent would have called a judge right now if there were judges. Oop, there goes Emrakul again. There's Emrakul again. So you've hit Emrakul 3 times in a row as a 2 of without hitting any of our 4 other relevant cards. A pro tip, if you insist on doing this on Magic Online, if your mana pool is empty, you can just click on Monolith once for mana and then once to untap it. But if you have even 1 other mana floating, Moto's going to make you pick from your floating mana what you're going to untap your Monolith with. And then it turns it from a 2-turn thing, or a 2-click thing, to a 5 or 6-click thing. All right, there's Dread Return. Now we just need Conrad before Emrakul. There he is. All right, okay. Dread Return Conrad. And now we just click till my opponent decides to concede. Always yield to Conrad. See if they realize how this works now. Yeah, this honestly isn't even that bad. And I'm going to decline Conrad trigger because that'll do more damage as Emrakul. Or decline Narcomoeba trigger. Narcomoeba coming into play from the graveyard and being shuffled in from Emrakul is the same damage if you only go through the deck once, but if you go through it twice, having the creature density matters more. Like, it'll just speed it up. I honestly don't even mind doing this. Of all the ridiculous click-heavy combos I've played on this channel, this one is not the worst, and it's not even close. This is kind of like a summer vacation. Like, this is totally fine. Like I'm standing on the deck of a cruise ship, leaning over the rail, watching the sunset. The sunset being my opponent's life total. Slowly dipping over the horizon. I could Cabal Therapy, get the 4th Narcomoeba back in the mix, but I think at this point, clicking the Cabal Therapy, resolving that would take longer than just going through the deck a 3rd time. Okay, they're at 1. We're almost there. Narcomoeba trigger for lethal. GG, opponent. Not even that bad. 14 minutes on the clock. Plenty of time to do it again. But I'm not going to do it again because I'm a show and tell deck now. I'll turn for victory. All right, bring in everything except Toxic Deluge. Take out everything except Narcomoebas. We've seen this before. Okay. Result Monolith combo out for me. Show and tell combo in. For them, a bunch of stuff is out. Force of Vigor's in. Graveyard Hate's in. Surgical Extraction's in. Shit I don't care about. Let's go. Conrad knocked so many clicks off of this combo too. Like if that was Blasting Station and I had to like click through untapping Blasting Station and then click to throw a Narcomoeba at my opponent every time, like that would be really intolerable. Yeah, Sir Conrad is just cat's pajamas. And my hand has Emrakul, Limdul's Vault to find the show and tell, Brazen Borrower to interact, and a couple of forces. Okay. They can do loam stuff. I don't mind that so much with the draw that I have. Hey, I drew show and tell. Nice. Okay, so now I can Limdul's Vault for the Omniscience. I need another land, unfortunately. But then I can start... Like, if I draw land right now, I can Vault for Omniscience and just shut the door. Okay, that is not what happened. I've got options here. I guess there is likely to be... No, I shouldn't play that game. Like with Limdul's Vault, you stop when you have 5 cards you like. All right, I am going to Vault. Limdul's Vault. Here we go. If you've never seen this card, you look at the top 5 cards of your deck, and you can put them back on top of your deck in any order, or you can pay 1 life to look at the next 5 cards in your deck, and you can do that till you're happy. So I'm going to pay life until I find a set of cards that has a land and Omniscience in it. I like Ancient Tomb, but no, I would like to pay life. Any order. Teferi's not doing what I needed to. Pay life, any order. Pay life, any order. Narcomoeba, Cabal Therapy, nope. Pay life, any order. Still haven't seen an Omniscience. Still haven't seen an Omniscience. Still haven't seen an Omniscience. There's an Omniscience and a City of Traders and a Brainstorm. This is literally the nut pile. Okay. I'm going to put Force of Will, Brainstorm, Omniscient. Oh no, fuck. What happens if I say no? Wait. Did I just misclick? Oh no. Can I Control Z this? Oh good, I can Control Z this. Oh, thank you, Magic Online. You couldn't do that for a long time. Okay, Force of Will, Ponder, and then Omniscience, City, Brainstorm. So now I can Brainstorm into City and Omniscience. Oh, that was a close call. And I can protect this with a wall of Force of Wills. Right, they're Endurancing me? That doesn't do anything. That only affects the bottom of my deck. It doesn't shuffle my library. Go for it. Okay, draw Brainstorm. Brainstorm. Put back the 2 Brazen Borrowers, I think. Or do I put Emrakul on top and I cast Ponder? And I'm going to put back the 2 Brazen Borrowers. And City of Traders. Show and tell. I have Force backup if they have Pyroblast. Do have Pyroblast. I'm going to force pitching Ponder and hope they don't have another one. Okay, I get to put in Omniscience. Now I can cast Emrakul with Force of Will backup. I love when a plan comes together. Limdul's Vault. This game brought to you directly by Limdul's Vault. That Endurance probably would have been pretty good against my the combo they saw in game 1, which is not in my deck anymore. Transformational sideboard. Okay, so Emrakul's gonna arrive. It can't be countered. And they have 1 card left in their hand, and I have 1 card left in my hand, and it's Force of Will that I can cast for free with Omniscience. I got a Time Walk coming. They can go down to 1 permanent and then just lose. Do I know their last card? Is it a land that came off this loam? I feel like it is. I could also just Brazen Borrow and mark them to 0. Yeah, that's what I would have done, but they conceded. Nice. On to the final round, playing for a positive record after a tough start. I'm on the play in the final round, playing for the positive record. I'm going to keep this. I've got the Orb. I've got a Brainstorm. What else do you want? There's even a cool trick here where I can play Orb on turn 2, and then in response to the Orb triggers on my third turn, I can Brainstorm, put Conrad and Dread Return on top of the deck for the Brainstorm cards. They get milled by the Orb, and it's like clearing the Brainstorm for free while advancing my combo. It's good stuff. Very exciting. Another Windswept Teeth. Who told people this was an okay thing to do? Okay, they fetched a Tropical Island. I'm much more okay with that version of the world. Played against a lot of Windswept Teeths in this league. I think I want to respect Wasteland by just fetching another basic. Like, my game 1 plan really doesn't need other colors, so why give my opponent the chance to mess with me? And I love Noble Hierarch decks that play Wasteland. When you're jumping ahead on mana, it really helps the tempo loss of using one of your lands to destroy an opponent's land. Wonder what's happening. Are we getting Leovolded? Is this True Name Nemesis kind of situation? There a Stoneforge Mystic headed my way. What do we got? They didn't reveal Yorion, so it's not a Zenith pile. I guess it could be just a non-Zenith pile. Ponder, shuffle, ponder. Deal. I think they have come to the understanding that I'm up to some shit. Oh, they are a Zenith pile. Cool. All right. Yep, just a non-Yorion Bant Zenith pile. Deal. All right, now I'm going to do the trick I mentioned. These two things go on the stack. I Brainstorm in response and put back these two cards that I want in my graveyard. They get milled, and then I draw for my turn. Come on, Monolith. We're so set up right now. I even have the Ancient Tomb. I have forced back up. Bummer. Okay, Ponder. Grab another Brainstorm. I do actually want that. Not shuffle my library. Does a second orb actually help me do anything? I'm not sure, but I'm going to cast it. Here's my second orb. Maybe I can deck them. They're almost certainly an Uro deck. It plays around Prismatic Ending. That's what it really does. Oh god, they're a Kiki Chord deck. Corridor Monitor, Kiki Jiki. I'm glad we got a look at this shit. Wow. My opponent's up to some business. The decking them plan just got a lot more realistic. What's all this shit? Zenith for 3. It's going to get Endurance. Leovold. I'm going to force this, actually. Sucks to lose my Brainstorm like that, but it would suck more if they could just get whatever card they want out of their deck. All right, now I mill for 6. Found an Archamoeba. Hell yeah. There's even a Cabal Therapy in my graveyard. Hide your Brainstorm anyway. Life is good. Brainstorm, find me the Monolith. A whole lot of nothing. Okay, I'll put back Ancient Tomb and Tundra. I'll play Misty Rainforest. And I'm just going to sit on this Cabal Therapy. It's not time to pop that just yet. Oh man, there goes your deck. Renegade Rallier. Lands. Brainstorms. This is so much fun. I hope I just mill someone out. I think that's the win condition in the deck we haven't played to yet. The two ways we haven't killed someone yet are just straight up milling them with Mesmeric Orb and casting Sir Conrad. I don't think we're going to cast Sir Conrad, but milling is starting to become a thing, though this deck almost certainly has Endurance in it. Okay, there's Uro, and Uro did not generate a land. Okay, I am going to fetch in my end step because I don't want to mill away cards that I might need to fetch. I guess I just go all the way in. I have Academy Ruins in my deck. My deck's made from milling itself. There's some universe where I just like accidentally hit the combo here before I hit Emrakul. Could happen. Fabricate, Cabal Therapy, Monolith, another Narcomoeba, and draw for turn. Emrakul. All right. Well, the cast Emrakul plan is reapproaching. All right, I am going to therapy them now, and I'm going to name Endurance if they don't Endurance in response. And then I'll get a look at their hand and be able to take something else. Zenith, 2 Coatls, and Felidar Guardian. All right, I'm going to flashback on Zenith. Coatling in response. That's a thing you can do. Green Suns, Zenith. I hope they drew the last one. They found Ponder. Okay. And I'll play my Tundra and pass the turn. They mill 10 here. Omnath in this deck. Goodness. Birthing Pod. All right, they're in their own universe over there, which I'm allowed to say because I'm also in my own universe. Goes to shuffle. 16 cards left in the deck. All their Zeniths are gone. There's got to be an Endurance in here somewhere, and I just need to dodge it. Here's Uro from the bin. Puts a land into play. And I'm going to float a bunch of men in my end step. Oh, they are attacking too. They're not afraid of mills. And I'm not going to tap my Ancient Tomb because that has a real cost associated, but I am going to mill with the rest of these. Just 8 cards into the graveyard. No triggers on anything. Oh, another Mesmeric Orb. Okay. Well, if they don't have Endurance, they're dead. If they're coatling in response, please miss on your Endurance. Please die. Please die. 3 cards in their hand. We know one is Felidar Guardian. Okay, F6. Who's dead? It's one of us. Yeah, they have 1 unknown card in their hand. Is it the Endurance, or did we actually mill someone out? We got a mill win! We did it! Alright. I'm not going to try to cast Sir Conrad in this last round, unfortunately. So we're out of win conditions to try. We did hardcast Emrakul this league, though, which is the real accomplishment. This is a full 15-card sideboard juke here. They're a combo deck in their own right. Mesmeric Orb was so funny. Glad that happened. And because Toxic Deluge is coming in, I'm cutting one of the Narc Amoebas. And Sir Conrad is getting boarded out of its chance to get hardcast and win a game. All right, here we go. Show and tell, bring me home. I got Emrakul, fast mana, and protection. I'm going to keep this. They got a Noble Hierarch to kick it off. I am a little worried about their mana acceleration because this could be a turn 2 Hull Breacher and just eat my Brainstorm. I'll have to use a Force of Will on that if that's what happens. Kind of hoping they just cast like Collector Oof or some shit I don't care about anymore. And Toxic Deluge was a huge pickup. Them brainstorming means that they're not going to have Hull Breacher mana on my turn. I like that. Okay, they just passed with 2 mana up. Could be a Coatl, could be nothing. Gonna brainstorm. This hand needs some help. Okay, that was exactly the help I was looking for. I'm gonna put back Emrakul and one of the Ancient Tombs. And then I'm gonna Cabal Therapy them. Oh, I should have waited a turn. Shit. Yeah, if I wait a turn, I can know exactly what they're dealing with. Alright, I'm gonna Cabal Therapy anyway. I think I want to name Green Sun Zenith. Or do I just name Force of Will? Yeah, I'll just take the obvious one. Should have named Zenith, but I did get a Force of Will anyway. Alright, not true. Force of Will is the right take there. And I don't care about Endurance with this version of the deck. What's this? They draw Jace? Oh, no, it's the Zenith for 3. What does this do? I think I just forced this, right? Or I could probably Deluge whatever this is next turn, and then just take my time, or ignore it. Okay, this resolves. I'm going to save my Force of Will. Yeah, Leovold makes sense. Oh. Yeah, Cabal Therapy is pretty bad against Leovold, but here's Show and Tell. Yeah, I can Show and Tell Emrakul this turn with Force of Will backup. They'll probably put in Coatl and draw a card. And I can Deluge for 1... to clear out their creatures and annihilate them the rest of the way next turn. All right, just put in Endurance. Deal. Put my graveyard back into my deck. Your hand is Coatl and 1 mystery card and whatever they're about to draw, and they have to get through a Force of Will and beat Emrakul. Please don't have Karakas. They conceded 3-2. A positive record with 4 Horsemen in 2020. Let's review this list for a minute. I think that Fabricate sucks. Fabricate did the least in this league. I literally never drew it, and I boarded it out every time I boarded the combo out. Just more Limb Duel's Vault would help with both the main deck plan and the sideboard plan. Maybe it should just be Vault instead of Fabricate. I'm not sure we need 4 Cabal Therapies. That feels like a lot. I wish I had like a Preordain or just, you know, something to smooth this out. There were a lot of times where I had Cabal Therapy in my hand, or where I would have preferred to have some action spell. The mana's also not good because that's my fault. Like, I took a Dimir deck and made it Esper without really giving it the right respect. I think 2 basic lands is probably enough, and add another fetch land or another Underground Sea. I think you probably want another fetch land to maximize your cantrips, and then the fetch land can find the sea when you want it. There were times where I just didn't have black mana, and I had a handful of black cards. That's worth acknowledging. The sideboard plan I thought was pretty good. As far as like making a sideboard juke this heavy, there's not a lot of nuance to the sideboard. It's like, now I'm a show and tell deck. You have 15 slots to make your deck into a different deck. And I think this almost lines up. It sucks that we can't cut the Narcomoebas, but they did come in handy as blue cards and blockers during this league. I do like the idea of Teferi, especially once we're a show and tell deck out of the sideboard. He only showed up like twice this league, but it was pretty good both times, and I still like it in theory. And the deck is surprisingly clickable in Magic Online. This is much better than something like Bomberman Combo or Pauper Walls, or there's just so many other decks that people play online that require less clicking than this one, and this wasn't so bad. Still not allowed at a paper tournament. You're not going to get away with it, but this was fun to do on Magic Online exactly one time. Frequently a thing that happens is after I play a brew, especially one as beloved to niche populations as Four Horsemen is I get a bunch of people reaching out to me like, oh, I have a Four Horsemen build that's even better. You should try that. And I'm just going to say up front, I'm not going to do that. I've played Four Horsemen. It's on the channel. I'm not going to do this again. It was fun while it lasted, but it's not something I want to revisit due to the Magic Online interface. I hope that you have fun if you like this sort of thing, though. Maybe you have a local play group who sort of look the other way and accept the fact that the inevitability is there, even if you can't say exactly how many iterations it would take. If your play group's cool with this, it's a cool deck. Don't bring it to a Grand Prix, though. You'll be disappointed in the judge ruling. Thank you, 93, for asking me to play this. I'm glad I leaned in and just played Four Horsemen straight up instead of trying to get cute with the list. Thank you all for watching. I hope you had as much fun watching this as I did, tuning and playing it. This was a delight that I hope to never repeat. See you next time.